mornings in my neighborhood were usually quiet. Birds chirped in the oaks, sprinklers clicked across manicured lawns, and the occasional jogger trotted past with headphones in. That morning, though, I had a feeling something was off before I even set my coffee cup down. It was the silence, the kind of pause in the air that makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up, like a storm waiting to break. I had just poured myself a steaming mug of dark roast and stepped onto the porch. From where I sat, I had a perfect view of my driveway, where my pride and joy, a deep green F-150 pickup, sat gleaming in the early sunlight. It wasn't just any truck. It had belonged to my dad before me, and I'd spent countless weekends fixing it up, restoring every dent and bolt until it looked brand new. For me, it wasn't just a vehicle. It was family history on four wheels. That's when I noticed her. Karen. Every neighborhood has one, but ours had the Karen. She was the self-appointed queen of the HOA, strutting around with a clipboard like it was a royal scepter. Her short blonde bob never moved out of place, her oversized sunglasses seemed glued to her face, and her mouth was always pursed in disapproval. The kind of neighbor who would measure your grass with a ruler, leave nasty notes about trash cans, and fine you for having a garden gnome that didn't match community aesthetics. Normally, she walked the street with her usual air of superiority, scribbling imaginary violations onto her forms. But that morning, she wasn't inspecting lawns. She wasn't scolding kids for riding bikes too fast. No, she was walking directly toward my driveway. My mug hovered halfway to my lips. I narrowed my eyes. What was she doing? She stopped at the edge of my property, gave a quick glance around, and then, without hesitation, marched right up to my truck. My heart gave a hard thump in my chest. She didn't look up, didn't knock on my door. Instead, she pulled something out of her oversized purse. Keys, a whole jangling ring of them. I blinked, stunned. Surely she wasn't, but she was. Karen leaned in close to the driver's side door, pursing her lips as if she were about to solve the world's greatest mystery, and slid a key into the lock. It didn't fit. She tried another, then another. The metal clinked in the still morning air. My coffee mug trembled in my hand as I gripped it tighter, watching her attempt to unlock my truck as casually as if she were checking her mail. For a split second, my brain scrambled for excuses. Maybe she thought it was her car. No, that was impossible. Karen drove a white SUV, always spotless, always parked diagonally across two spaces at the community center. My truck was nothing like it. Besides, I'd seen the way she glared at it before, muttering about how that rust bucket doesn't belong here. She knew exactly whose vehicle it was. I set my coffee down slowly, my pulse racing. Was this really happening? My neighbor, the HOA president, trying to break into my truck? She wiggled another key, cursed under her breath, and stomped her foot in frustration when it didn't turn. My jaw clenched so tight it hurt. This wasn't a mistake. She believed she had the right to do this. And then, like a scene out of a bad sitcom, she whipped out her phone. From where I stood, I could hear every word of her screeching voice. Yes, 911. I need officers here immediately. There's an illegal vehicle parked in the neighborhood. It's not registered to him, and I'm trying to inspect it, but he's locked it up tight. Yes, I'm the HOA president. This is urgent. My hands curled into fists. Illegal vehicle? Locked it up tight? She made it sound like I was some criminal hiding stolen goods in my dad's truck. In reality, she had just been caught red-handed trying to jimmy her way into something that wasn't hers. For a moment, I debated storming out there right away. I wanted to catch her mid-crime, keys still in hand. But another part of me knew Karen was dangerous not because of what she did, but because of how she twisted the story. If I yelled, she'd spin it. If I got too close, she'd claim I threatened her. No, I had to be smart about this. I pulled my own phone from my pocket and hit record. The screen glowed in my hand as I zoomed in on her, still fumbling with the lock and barking into the phone like she was queen of the world. The keys jingled as she tried one last time. Her face twisted in frustration when it jammed. Unbelievable, she muttered, pulling the key out so hard she nearly dropped it. Then she raised her voice again for the dispatcher. Yes, I'll wait. He's right here at his house, glaring at me. I feel unsafe. Please send units quickly. My blood boiled, but I stayed still, capturing every word, every movement. She wanted the cops to show up and see me as the aggressor. She wanted them to believe I was hiding something. But this time, she had overplayed her hand. From my porch, I finally called out, my voice carrying across the driveway. Karen, what the hell do you think you're doing? She froze. For a split second, her face went pale, like a child caught stealing cookies. But just as quickly, she recovered, spinning on her heel to face me with that signature smirk plastered back in place. Oh, you're awake, she said, voice dripping with false innocence. Good. You can explain yourself to the police when they get here. Explain myself, I barked, taking slow steps down the porch steps, my phone still recording. You just tried to break into my truck. With keys. You think I didn't see that? Her smirk faltered, but only for a moment. She lifted her chin. I was doing my duty as HOA president. That vehicle doesn't belong here. I have authority to inspect it. Authority. The word hit me like a slap. She genuinely believed she could walk onto my property, jam a key into my truck, and call it authority. I raised my phone higher so the camera caught her face clearly. You don't have authority over my property, Karen. What you just did is called attempted theft. Her cheeks flushed crimson beneath her sunglasses, but she doubled down, her voice growing shrill. Don't you dare accuse me of that. I am protecting this community. That truck is a violation, and I won't have this neighborhood ruined by rule breakers like you. The hypocrisy made my chest burn. My truck, my family's legacy, was more than just metal. It was history, love, and blood sweat poured into every bolt. And here she was, trying to strip it away with her fake authority and a ring of master keys. I kept the camera steady. Go ahead, Karen. Keep talking. The cops will be here soon enough. And when they see this video, we'll see who leaves in handcuffs. Her lips twitched. For the first time, I saw a real fear flicker in her eyes. She knew I had her, and no amount of fast talking would make this footage disappear. The sound of distant sirens drifted down the street, growing louder. Karen straightened her blazer, trying to compose herself. She thought the cavalry was coming to save her, but she had no idea that for once, the truth was already on my side. I walked down the driveway, calm but seething, as she barked into the phone. Yes, officer, he's got an illegal vehicle here. It's not registered to him. I'm trying to get in, but he's locked it up. Her shrill voice carried through the still morning air. When she noticed me, she had the audacity to point and shout, That's him. He's breaking HOA rules, and I have the authority to inspect this truck. I pulled my own phone from my pocket and began recording. Karen, I said evenly, you just attempted to break into my property. That's a crime. Her face went pale for a split second, but she recovered, waving her arms. I was doing my duty. You don't belong here. Minutes later, red and blue lights flashed at the end of the street. Karen straightened her blazer like she'd already won. The officers stepped out and Karen launched into her performance, waving her clipboard and pointing at me. But when I showed them the video of her fumbling with her so-called master key at my truck, the mood shifted. The officers' expressions hardened. One of them turned to Karen. Ma'am, do you realize what you've just admitted to? Her confidence cracked, and she sputtered excuses about community authority and rules. The officer shook his head. This isn't authority. This is attempted theft. Before my eyes, they cuffed her right there in the street, her protests turning into shrieks of disbelief. Neighbors peeked from behind curtains as the self-proclaimed queen of the HOA was led to the back of a squad car. I stood by my truck, the morning sun finally breaking over the horizon, feeling a weight lift from my chest. For once, justice had come swiftly, and Karen's reign ended with the sound of handcuffs clicking shut.